child. Rather than going to school, he would play for 14 hours a day, every day.
Yeah.
And if you're doing anything for 14 hours a day, it then just becomes second nature.
Something's going to click sooner or later, isn't it?
And Stevie Ray had a very similar thing at a very young age, sort of 14, 15. He was gigging, and they when they gigged, they would do 3 or 4 sets a night, maybe even longer, and they would just play. So by the time it became sort of commercial in the early mid 80s or whatever, it was just second nature to him, it flowed through. But I had that, and also Noel gave me a great bit of advice. I bought this album called White Boy Blues, and it was a double LP, and it had Beck, Clapton, Page. I don't know whether it had Peter Green on it. I don't know, but it was like a compilation album, but it was lots of very relatively slow, straightforward blues.
Right.
And you could put it on, and it was in the key of A, so you could just noodle over it in the key of A, and that's how I sort of made that transition from just playing on my own or playing pieces to actually listening to something and trying to copy it badly or do something similar in the same vein.
Okay. Right. So did that sort of did that become a model for your practice quite a bit, like playing over backing tracks or playing onto stuff?
Yeah, and I would say my practice habits and routines are very poor.
Right.
I try to practice scales. I try to practice a bit of learning in terms of as I was saying, like triads or chord shapes and things like that. But I just generally tend to dive into something, and YouTube can be a distraction because you think, right, what's that Stevie Ray lick, and you'll go on it, and you'll just end up spending an hour putting a lick together, which ain't bad at all. But then it doesn't make you more comprehensive. As you were saying, people like Anthony or whatever, I watch them play. And he's a comprehensive player. He's playing up and down the neck. He's playing in, he can play quietly, play loud, in touch with the music and stuff. And all those things come from playing a lot with other people and actually, practicing, so you understand the scales up and down the neck and what to play, what not to play, when not to play, and things like that. So I still have lessons on and off. There's a chap in Stroud, Chris Finch. He does a lot of schools around here, but he's a superb guitar player in all sorts of genres, and he's given me a lot of help in sort of finger picking and just sort of putting stuff together and making it work. But there's a vast amount of information out there on YouTube that you can also sort of benefit from. Yeah.
And I can testify to getting lost in some of it, like you say.
It can be a bit of a rabbit hole. Yeah. I'm one of these people that needs to have a syllabus. I need to start somewhere and finish somewhere, so we go, right, that's it. I've got through that. I've got to a certain point of proficiency with scales, with playing hybrid picking, or with playing whatever, whether it be funk or whatever else, and it's all too easy just to get little bits, and then they literally do become little bits that float around, and they never sort of
cohesively come together. I think there's the only reason I decided to turn up to a blues jam was like I've learnt some of this pentatonic scale, and now I want to go and sort of push myself or test myself a little bit and see, okay, so what can I, it's all well and good that I'm playing over some YouTube backing tracks, but what's going to happen when I'm in front of a live audience and somebody looks at me and goes, your turn, and I go, okay.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting experience.
It is quite interesting, because you sort of think to yourself, why would you put yourself through that? You've got people watching you, you've got people that you sort of think, bloody hell, they're a bit good, and then you drop yourself in it, and you like you said, it's sink or swim, but you then quickly realise the people that you're playing with enjoy what they're doing, and they want you to enjoy that, and the audience as well, and you sort of you get to a point that, forgive my French, you stop shitting yourself, and then you stop thinking about yourself as well, and you're there going, right, what's everybody else doing? Do I need to be playing huge chords over this, or can I minimalise it, or do I need to get bigger because the other guitarist has just dropped a solo or whatever? And then when it does work, I don't know. You must get this because every musician that I've spoken to, when it clicks, it just makes the hairs on your arms stand up, and you're in that moment, and you're not thinking about what's happened before. You might be planning on finishing the solo or whatever else, but there are moments where you're simply focusing on the now, and what you're doing, not what's happened before or what the next chord change or whatever is. And that moment, those, I think you get it in if you do sports to a high level or anything to a sort of, reasonable level. You just you stop thinking almost. It's weird. But then afterwards you sort of think, that was excellent.
It goes very Zen. Thought without thought.
Absolutely.
Very Taoist.
Yeah.